Hello, everybody. It's Stephen and Walter here again for another episode of So Chatty. It's episode 154 for August the 30th, 2024. Summer, for all intents and purposes, after this weekend is over. I know it goes to September 21st, but, kids go back to school in our area. So once the kids are back in school, you figure that's fall. Where did it go? Okay, well, show you what I've been up to. Now, if you've been following Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches, you will have seen her version of this. I'm doing the sew along with Stephanie of her pattern called Cozy Stars quilt. These are the first 4 blocks. I know there's 8 there. I can count, but it's duplicated. You make 2 of each. And I think it's going to be a really elegant looking quilt when it's done. I mean, Stephanie writes the best patterns, and she's doing videos to go along with them. So I don't know if you can get in on it yet, but if you check out her Etsy store, she has it listed there. Price is very reasonable. You use your own fabric, of course, for it. I think she may have had some kitted up way back, but I don't think she has any of those kind of left. But anyways, and I mean, you don't have to keep up because those videos will stay up for all time, I'm sure. But anyways, yeah, it's coming along nicely. These are fairly complex blocks, but her instructions make them very easy. And yeah, I think it's very nice. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks nice.
You said it looked like Delft blue.
Well, the colors that you're using.
And this is Christmas fabric, believe it or not. I bought this at Lone Quilt, Lone Star? Is it called Lone Star? It's called Lone Star in Berlin, or just outside of Berlin. And when I picked these out, I had the thought that I would use them for this particular quilt. But it's so subtle as Christmas. It would serve more like a wintry
Yeah, it
quilt.
doesn't really look super Christmassy.
No.
But actually, so it becomes very versatile. You could use it for anything.
Yeah, you could with it. And I mean, these individual blocks too, if you want to make them into table runners or just like 1 or 2 of these blocks and just use them for a whole quilt, I think would look really nice as well. So a lot of versatility in Stephanie's pattern. Okay, so what's Walter got to show us? What are you working on?
No, I still got a shirt I'm doing, but I'm hoping to join the sew day tomorrow to working on it.
Oh, did you pencil us in? Because your
maybe.
schedule is so, let's see, what time? Oh, sleep, read the news on the computer, and then it's the middle of the afternoon by then. Yeah, okay. So, speaking of pop-up sew day, yes, as you know, I'm sure if you've seen the other videos that went out this week, and if you're on the mailing list, you've gotten 2 notices of it. I sent out a reminder one today, and I sent one out on Monday with the Zoom link. Pop-up sew day, you know the drill. If you've been there before, bring whatever you want to work on, have a good time, come and go as you please. If you are new and you've never been to a pop-up sew day, and if you're a little worried that, you're in amongst a bunch of strangers, well, you're really not. Within the first few minutes, you'll feel right at home because everybody makes a point of making anybody new feel at home. We're drama-free zone, and it's just lots of fun. You may see a few things you may want to purchase, and it has nothing to do with me. Although I have been known to be an enabler, it's just that people show things they've gotten lately or they like, and everybody goes, "Ooh, where'd you get that? I want it." Happens to me all the time. So that's this Saturday, tomorrow, which is August the 31st. I open up the doors at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Don't feel you have to be there right at 8, especially you West Coasters out there, since we're 3 hours ahead of you. So that would make it, 5 in the morning if you were to join us? It has been done. And if you're in Australia, it's another day. So whatever. So you can come whenever you feel like it and leave whenever you need to or feel like it, whatever. So be nice to see everybody, the old people, and I don't mean old as in age, I mean the established group, and new people. That's how we grow. Okay, and another opportunity for sewing in the week if you're like me and a retired person, or you just don't have a job. join us. If you're just bumming around, join us on Wednesdays on
or you work nights.
Or you work nights, yeah, but you might want to sleep. I don't know if you work nights. I don't know how that works in our work nights. But anyways, that's Sewing with Stephanie and Steven. That's Wednesdays. It's every Wednesday. We start around 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time again, and run until about 4 in the afternoon. Again, it's a come and go. You just work on whatever. Whatever suits your purposes for that day. If you can only stay for an hour, stay for an hour. If you want to be with us all day, you can do that. Not a problem. Okay, and the link for that and the link for the pop-up sew day, both of those are in the show notes. So check that out. And a few people, I think I said this before, but I'll say it again because I've had a few people ask me, they say, well, when you say they're in the show notes, where are the show notes? Right below the video, you'll see the description of the video, and you'll see a little line that will start to have a few words in it, and then the word more will be at the end. And if you click on more, it expands, and that you'll see all the links for anything that we talk about on So Chatty or on my other blogs are all there. Everything's there. Just pull it down, away you go.
That kind of thing works on pretty much every YouTube channel, yeah?
Yeah, it does.
You know, if people post information about their YouTube channel, it usually is shown at the bottom, and then it only shows you a certain amount. And then at the end of it, it says more, and you push that, and it usually drops it down.
Yeah. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. And, you know, if you hear somebody in a video, not just ours, but any videos you happen to be watching on YouTube, and someone mentions a product or something you're interested in, click on the more button and see if they've listed it in their show notes, because a lot of creators do. And with a link to where you can get that item or for more information or something like that. It's a great resource, and most content creators use it for that. So, yeah. Okay. Advance notice. Fall retreat. Idiot Quilter Fall 2024 retreat is happening on October the 19th. There are details coming out about how you register for it. It's a free event, but you do have to register because I have a limited number of spots. It's done by Zoom, not YouTube Live. It is not recorded, but you do need to have a camera, and you do need to have the camera on. And I explain all that. I just made a video this morning. I haven't posted it yet. I'll probably post it towards the end of next week. That goes through everything you need to know about the fall retreat. We have some presenters lined up. We have a panel discussion we're going to have, and there are prizes. Prizes as well. So it usually fills up pretty quickly, but all of that information and when you can sign up, don't try to sign up now because I'll ignore the email. There is a date when it opens. I'll have to see the video for that. And if you try to register before that date, well, too bad. I'm trying to make it fair. So, yeah. Okay, so, and I have something new that I have never done before. On the sew day on Wednesday, it was kind of strange, but I got two emails, one half an hour after the other one. The first email was from a local guild that wanted to know if I would be willing to speak at one of their meetings this year. I guess the program director for the guild was trying to line up all their guest speakers for their meetings, which usually at a guild, they usually have a guest speaker at almost every one of their meetings. And it took me aback because I said, well, what would you want me to talk about? And she basically...
Being an idiot?
Yeah, pretty much. No, that was the second one. Yeah, the first one, I said, I can sort of brainstorm here a few topics that I could probably talk about, but, I'm open to your suggestions, or if there's something here that you think would appeal to your group, just let me know, or if you think it could be adapted, whatever. I said, I'm flexible at this point in time, not having ever done it before. And then the second email came in about a half an hour later from another guild a little further east of us, but not that far. And they were a little bit more specific. They wanted me to talk about my YouTube channel and why I'm the Idiot Quilter and all that kind of stuff, which gave me a little bit more to work with. So I've already been jotting out ideas and plans and things like that, making my brainstorm list of things and starting to shape it. That's usually how I work for things like this. And So yeah, I think both of those are going to occur in the new year. Um, and one for sure is pretty much confirmed. She confirmed me on the spot, pretty much. The other one, I don't know, maybe I scared her off. Now, then they asked me about payment. I've never done this before. I have no idea what to charge. I had a few suggestions from the ladies on the so day with Stephanie. Uh, One person suggested that I charge like about $300 or something. I thought, yeah, no. So I've decided, no, I'm not charging. I know that guilds have a budget for this kind of thing, but they don't have a huge budget for it. And, I figure that if they don't like what I have to talk about or my speech, they can't ask for their money back if I don't charge them. So, yeah, I'm a little nervous about this. And not that I'm nervous about getting up in front of a bunch of people and talking. That's not a problem. But I want to make sure that my presentation is entertaining and informative. And I don't want to do what I've seen so many presenters at guilds do. Hi, I've been quilting for 30 years. Here's 12,000 of my quilts. Let's look at them, shall we? Boring. After the fifth quilt, you're going, is she ever going to stop? Or he? Whatever. So I don't want to do that. No, not my way of doing a presentation. So, anyways, I have some plans. I'm working on them, and I'm very flattered that they asked me. It's either that or they're getting desperate for speakers and they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Someone said, well, he's an idiot. Get him. So I don't know. But anyways, I'll keep you informed about that kind of thing, what's happening. Maybe Walter can come with me. Maybe he can video it and I can show parts of it or something, maybe, unless it sucks. Then you'll never see it. But whatever, unless you're in the guild. Okay, so that's the exciting things that have been going on this week. Anything else exciting happened this week? I bought a new 3D printer. More about that on my vlog.
Or are you kind of replacing an old 3D?
Well, yeah, I am kind of replacing my oldest one with it, but that more about that on my vlog because I have the 3D corner happening there. I cleaned up the Lucy room. More about that on Idiot Quilter on Tuesday. I made pickled jalapenos from our garden. More on the vlog on Monday about that. Yeah, I'm giving you all the teasers right now with it. Did you do anything exciting? You went for your walks. Do anything else?
Yeah, well, I complained to
Oh yeah.
Honda, and I complained to
The window people.
and I talked to the window people because we got our third transom.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that adventure around Stephen and Walter Live on
And
Sunday.
then what else did I do? I contacted Napoleon to get the barbecue part.
I thought he was dead. Is that what he was doing after a revolution? He got exiled and made barbecue.
Plus, I looked at there's some other stuff I was looking at that are financial stuff.
Ooh, financial stuff. Money for me? Okay. All right. So, Walter, yeah, whatever.
I do stuff.
But nobody knows what it is. It's a mystery, even to me. Because if
Well,
I go near his room...
I cut front lawn.
Oh, yay for that. Yeah. Like I said, I could care less. Pave it. But, yeah, I walk by his room and go, what are you doing? I don't know. Go away. There you go. Whatever. Okay, let's get into today's topics, shall we? So we're starting our new series on FSL and FSA. And if you don't know what FSL and FSA are, they stand for freestanding lace and freestanding applique. Both are done in the hoop on your embroidery machine. So today we're going to talk specifically about FSL, freestanding lace, and the fun you can have with it.
And it's not hard because I can do it.
Yeah, he makes my shirts and he says that. Yeah, it's not hard. But what are we talking about? Well, let me show you a picture.
Ooh.
This is what is called freestanding lace. That is all thread. There is No fabric involved in this whatsoever. Now, I made this one, and I have an actual video that I will put in here in a few minutes for you to see the process, and I explain the process in detail. It is, like Walter says, though, it is not hard, but it's fascinating, and there's so many cool things you can make with it. You could make this in multiple colors. I chose just to do it all in one color for the sake of simplicity, but I have done them in all kinds of different colors. Like, here's this little guy, my little Christmas gnomey guy. Well, I don't know if he's really Christmas or what. But yeah, so you can see I've used several colors in him as well. And this is something I like to attach to a bag because I made it so there's a little loop up here and it dangles off of it, or it could be whatever you want. Make cute tags on Christmas packages and things like that. But these are just two examples of all the kind of things you can do. And you're probably wondering, if you've never done this before, how does it all hold together? It's a mystery. Not really. The way the stitches are designed, they kind of weave themselves around, and they do go on a stabilizer, but it's a water-soluble stabilizer. So when you are done, you immerse your freestanding lace in a sink of warm water for about 30 seconds, swish it around, and all the stabilizer comes out.
Yeah. You're basically putting the design that you've stitched out that's still on the stabilizer, and you put the design and the stabilizer in warm water.
And you switch it around, the stabilizer dissolves.
Yeah.
The stabilizer is actually a form of glue, or of starch, actually. That's probably a better term for it. It's more a form of starch that's in a woven sheet.
You know what the name of the product is? It's a poly something or another. It's a polyglycol or something like that.
And it just dissolves right out. And the thing is, you'll notice these are fairly stiff because I like my freestanding lace very stiff. But if you wanted something a little softer, a little more floppy, depending on what you're making, then you just rinse it longer. And the more you rinse it, the more of this will come out. And now another question people are probably going to ask is, do you have to match your bobbin colors up with what your top thread is? The answer to that in most cases is no. Because can you see a difference? Front, back? No. On one side, I use just nothing but the white bobbin. Because the stitches are so tightly stitched together and wound around, the top thread is the most predominant thread you're going to see. Now, one exception. The back of this butterfly, you see the white? That's my bobbin. And the way this particular one was designed, it didn't cover up the white in that piece of it. However, that doesn't bother me when it's there. And if it did bother me, I could wind a colored bobbin of the same thread.
Actually, what I would use is a bobbin of regular sewing thread that is a color that matches. Because the reason is that you found that with Floriani,
it doesn't.
If you wind a bobbin with the Floriani top thread, you tend to have some tension problems with it. Yeah. And so actually, if you can actually find a 60 weight thread that's a color that matches, that would be ideal. Yeah. But I mean, worst comes to worst, use a 50 weight thread of a color that somewhat matches. It doesn't have to be
perfect,
right? But it would blend in to the back.
And there's another trick, and that is fabric markers or a Sharpie. Find one close to the color, and you just dab it on there, and you won't see it. As I said, this doesn't bother me. This was just a demo piece anyways. But if I did make this and it was, say I was going to hang it up and it would be twirling in the wind, well, then I might want to do what Walter said to do or use my Sharpie or whatever on that. But 9 times out of 10, I never bother. I never have to, because just like this one. Can you see the right side? Can you see the wrong side? Not really.
There's a slight
difference, but not enough
that anybody would notice.
No. So up close, this is the wrong side. This is the right side. So you see? Now, you will, the reason I bring that up is because in many of the instructions that you'll download along with the design that you have picked up, and we'll talk about where to get designs, they will tell you to wind so many bobbins. Like, for example, they would say for this one, wind a bobbin with the same color thread for each top thread you're going to use. So I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd have 5 different bobbins and colors to use for this. And do I really want to? No. But as I said, if you test out your design, and if the backing of it's going to pull up a lot of the white bobbin thread or something, then you may want to adjust accordingly. If it bothers you, it may not bother you. It depends on how you're using it. If you can use these, I have appliqued them to a corner of a quilt, so no one's going to see the other side of it. Yeah. So,
and even like, I mean, you've used it as tags for bags and stuff like that, and even that, I mean, there isn't that much of a difference.
Doesn't show up that much
to the back, so
no. So you don't need to worry about that. So anyways, so I've showed you what freestanding lace is. It's exactly what it says. It's freestanding. It is lacy, and it doesn't have any visible means of support, i.e. fabric. Okay, it supports itself. That's the freestanding. So what can you do with these things? Anything you want. You can get designs that make Christmas tree ornaments. You can get designs for, as Walter just said, package gift tags. You can make jewelry. There's ones for earrings and things like that.
You could include one in a card or something like that that you send somebody as a little gift.
Done that. Yep. And what I've done before is I've made the card, comes from my old days of card making and paper crafting, and I've taken a couple of little glue dots and affixed like a little angel. Actually, I did them with little angels on the inside of the card, and it's sort of like, it makes the card look really nice, the Christmas card, but after the fact, they can pull it off from the card and they could hang it on a Christmas tree, or, you know, put it on a gift for somebody or whatever they want. It doesn't have to stay in the card. So it's like you're giving them a little gift when you send them a card. And people love that little surprise, I can tell you. They all go, ooh, oh, it's so pretty. Yeah. And you're a hero for thinking of that. You can make bookmarks with it. Not that, I mean, does anybody read a real book anymore? I know a few people out there do. I don't. I read everything electronically. But napkins, remember when I showed you making a napkin using the serger and the embroidery machine? Well, that was freestanding lace that was in the corner of the napkin. And you can do that with tablecloths as well. And there are designs that are specially made for the corners of napkins or tablecloths, things like that. You can quilt embellishments, or use them as embellishments on quilts or table runners. You can make napkin rings with freestanding lace. I've done that before too, especially when you want something a little special for a special occasion like Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that. There are literally hundreds of designs that you can get that have hundreds of purposes. So freestanding lace just gives your embroidery machine moves it up a level, several levels above. Let's put a monogram on a towel, shall we? Make your embroidery machine pay for itself. So, I'll show you a few other examples. Let's see here. These are ones that, now you've seen one of these already, but of course my gnomes, and I have a lady gnome too, and then there's a butterfly there. Now you notice in that butterfly's case, unlike the first one I showed you, I used multiple colors in that butterfly. Pardon the stick pin they stuck on my bulletin board. The little Christmas wreaths below, those are wine glass charms. You can make them a whole set of those in different colors, and that, you know, how people, you know, wine charm, I don't know if they're such a big thing anymore, but they were at one point. You could buy them anywhere, and you get these little charms in it, so you could identify your glass if you put it down to make sure, or, you know, when you want to roofie somebody, kind of a deal, you know whose glass you're putting it in. Don't mix it up in your own. That's not a good thing. That was a joke, people. Okay. So that's another potential. But they're lots of fun to make. Do they take a long time? Yes. Yes, they do. They do take a bit of time to do. Like, for example, this butterfly took about an hour and a half. And I didn't have to change threads with it because I did it in one color.
Now,
But
mind you, that you're not running your machine.
I'm not running
top
machine
speed.
at top speed. I'm running it actually at its slowest speed because I'm a little paranoid about running at it fast. But if you run, actually though, that's a good point though to bring up. When you're doing, what just snapped? Oh, I'm running out of filament over there. Okay. I have to fix that in a minute. So, what was I talking about? I'm having a senior's moment. I was talking about,
when we were talking about machine speeds.
Yeah, machine speed. When you're doing something like freestanding lace, it's not recommended you run your embroidery machine at full speed. Drop it down a bit. Of course, Walter says he does it all the time. He's never had a bloody problem. I'm just waiting for the
Well,
day.
actually, what happens with your machine, at least with our machine, is that only certain stitches run at high speed and other stitches run at a slower speed.
Yeah,
it will. The machine will adjust.
Adjust. I had a few problems once. I'm a little paranoid. That's all. But don't listen to me. Listen to Walter. He's never had a problem.
Well, I have had problems, but
Truth comes out.
But none that have stopped me from. I have actually slowed, because of you making me paranoid, I've slowed it down to 600 stitches.
It's always my fault.
It is.
Anyways, just a suggestion. Okay. Especially for those of you that are newbies to freestanding lace. Now, where do you get files? Well, basically almost any embroidery shop online that sells patterns for embroidery. Let me get the right thing up here. There we go.
They're often cut short formed as to FSL, right?
Yes, it's FSL. A great source though is OESD. They're one of the major suppliers of all kinds of embroidery files. But here you go. There are 1,342 freestanding lace designs. And you can see they vary in price depending on how intricate they are. But usually they run around the $5 mark. Some, like this one, $1.38 kind of a deal. Fashion cuff, you can use them in sewing. I love the angels. I love them especially for Christmas time. But here, bookmark. I mean, it looks like a feather. You can have a lot of fun with that by mixing and matching your colors. But you name it. There is all kinds of designs, and it works the same way as when you are buying any other kind of embroidery file. All you have to do is just download it and drop it into your machine. There's nothing more to it. Now, a lot of them will come with a printout, or for you to print out on what to do with it and how to finish it up. But it's very, very, very easy. So yeah, there's lots of things here. There's lots of seasonal elements. Here's a Christmas tree ornament kind of a thing. Lots of things to pick from.
And they often have them on sale.
Oh, yeah. And especially the Christmas and Halloween ones and things, the seasonal ones, a couple of months before, like they'll start putting Christmas ones on sale in about another couple of weeks. And
like in the sample here on this page that you've got here, it shows one on the extreme left that's regularly $6.89 for $1.38.
Yeah. And these prices, by the way, are Canadian prices because you have the option on OSD to switch over to the currency of your country. So even cheaper for Americans. So, how do you do this? Well, there's a few things you're going to need. So there are a few supplies you're going to need. And I have a list here. You're going to need water-soluble stabilizer. Where do you get that? Anywhere you buy your other stabilizers. There are different brands. We always buy our stabilizers, as you know, from Monfil, which is a Canadian company.
Yeah, you would have to look for water-soluble wash-away fabric.
Yeah.
or
Not fabric,
dissolve,
stabilizer.
or not fabric, stabilizer, ones that completely dissolve.
Yeah, completely dissolved. But there's lots of them out there. They're easy to get your hands on. Expense wise, depends where you buy them. Uh, they're in around the same range as you would pay for other stabilizers as well. Um, you're going to need some bobbins, pre-wound bobbins, whether you pre-wind them yourself or you buy pre-wound bobbins, as we were talking about earlier. Of course, you're going to need your embroidery thread. That's a given, and the embroidery file for it. And that essentially is all you need.
How many layers of stabilizer would you normally
Okay,
use?
well, that was what I was going to talk about next in troubleshooting. Now, here are some problems. And the first thing is, Walter says, how many layers of stabilizer? In the instructions you get with whatever file you download, they may tell you to use one layer. Don't. Minimum amount of water-soluble stabilizer is 2 layers. But some of these could have as many as 50 to 60,000, yes, 1,000 stitches. The more stitches, the more stabilizer. I would suggest you use the rule around every 8 to 10,000 stitches, another layer of stabilizer. So that would say, though, at 50,000 or 60,000, I wouldn't be using 5 or 6 layers of stabilizer. I think the max that I have ever used is 4. Usually, I find I can get away with just 2 layers of stabilizer. But you'll know, when you start the project, it's same as when you were starting one that's going into fabric. If things are puckering up, you don't have enough stabilizer. And you have to have a good foundation of stabilizer for freestanding lace. There's a lot of tension on your stabilizer because of the amount of stitches and they're pulling. So you want to make sure.
Yeah, plus if you don't have enough stabilizer, it starts to pull. It can start to make your design start to move a bit.
And it'll warp.
Yeah.
And your stitches will be loose. When you wash out that stabilizer, things are just going to fall apart on you. So don't be cheap on the stabilizer and the number of layers. You want to make sure when you're starting this, because it's going to run. Some designs can run several hours to make. You want to make sure your machine is clean and it's oiled when you start one of these projects. And make sure you have a good supply of bobbins at hand, because you will run out of bobbin thread. One bobbin will not do, probably, for most designs you're going to do. You're going to need multiple bobbins. So make sure they're all there, that you don't have to stop and wind more, or you have to go looking for bobbins. And be prepared for time. This is not something you're going to do basically the night before you're going to something the next day at lunch and you want to give a little gift. Okay, plan out your time. And you can walk away from your embroidery machine while it's working on it, but you want to check on it frequently if you do that. I really don't recommend leaving the embroidery machine for any length of time, because that's when embroidery machines have a mind of their own and they decide to be nasty. Or maybe it's just the effect I have on an embroidery machine. I don't know. They work fine while I'm sitting there with them. I turn my back for 5 minutes and go out of the room. Next thing I hear is clunk, 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 and I've got like a bird's nest on the back. And that's the other reason why I said about cleaning and oiling. Unlike something that you're doing on fabric where no one's going to see the back of it, if you got a bird's nest, that's not the end of the world. If you get a bird's nest on one of these, it could be the end of the world. It could ruin your whole piece. I don't want to scare you from trying this, because the things I'm talking about are very extreme.
And rare.
And rare, usually.
Yeah. But it's neat.
Yeah. You'll be mesmerized. You'll sit there and watch it for days. So, speaking of watching it for days, I'm going to insert a video in here right now that's going to show how I made this. Now, the video runs about 8 minutes, so you may want a cup of coffee. But it took a lot longer than 8 minutes. I cut out pieces and made it go faster.
Yeah.
So that, because, in some ways it can become like watching paint dry for that kind of thing. So that's what I'm going to insert here, and then we will be back. So I'm going to do a freestanding lace pattern on my embroidery machine. I'm not going to do this particular one because this one takes 102 minutes, as you can see. And I'm going to show you one that takes a little less time than that. And doesn't have any color changes, but I want to show you what they look like. Of course, depends on your embroidery machine, but on mine it shows me a picture of the pattern, and I think most do. And it has the list of color changes. In total, there are 7 color changes for this particular freestanding lace gnome, but this is all done in thread. And so I'm going to show you how you set things up for this, but I'm going to show you the pattern that we're going to do. We're not going to do this one today. We're going to do a different one. So let me go into my menu and find it. And this is the one I'm going to do, which is a butterfly, which are very nice when you do them in freestanding lace because they can be very intricate. This one is going to print sideways, but that's just so it can fit it in the hoop because this is fairly large. It is 4.8 by 6.5 inches. Now I could reduce that with the editing software, but I'm going to leave it as it is. Now I'm going to take you over here to my cutting table and show you what I've got out here for what we need. It told me I need the 20B hoop, which is a square hoop, and it's right here. And I'm going to need water-soluble stabilizer. And I want several layers of it. So what I have done is I have cut 3 layers of stabilizer for this, which I'm going to hoop. I'm not going to float this. I'm going to put it in my hoop. Now, when it gets going, because there are quite a few stitches in this design, I may have to float another piece of water-soluble stabilizer under the hoop just to make sure nothing is puckering and my stitches are coming out nice and even. Because this is so thread intensive and you're not going through fabric to hold the stitches, the water-soluble stabilizer, it's very important to have enough of it, so don't skimp on it. Many times patterns will tell you only need 1 or 2 layers. I think you need more, because if we go back here to the screen, it shows us how many stitches in this pattern, and there are 35,458 stitches, and my general rule is for every 8 to 10,000 stitches, I add a layer of stabilizer up to usually a maximum of 4. So this is calling for 3 to 4 layers of stabilizer. And so I'm starting with 3, but as I said, if I think I need more, when I look at the quality of the stitching when it first starts, then I will add another layer and float it underneath the hoop. So I'm going to hoop this up and get it into the embroidery machine, and we'll go from there. Okay, so as you can see, I have my hoop in my embroidery machine, and I have 3 layers of water-soluble stabilizer below, or hooped in as well. And I don't think I explained why I'm using water-soluble. Well, because you don't want any stabilizer to be seen in this pattern because it is completely lacy. It is a thread-based design. There is no fabric involved. So after this is completed, we will dissolve the water-soluble stabilizer. I just fill up a bathroom sink with a little bit of water, switch it around in there for about 30 to 45 seconds to get out as much of the stabilizer as I want to get out. It's like a glue, so if you leave a little bit of it in the fibers themselves, in the threads themselves, your item will be a little bit stiffer. So the more you rinse, the flimsier or the more flexible, I guess, your pattern becomes at the end. And then I'll lay it flat. I'll blot it between 2 layers of paper towels and lay it flat to dry. Usually that takes a couple of hours. And then I'll give it a light press, use a little bit of steam, and let it dry again for a little bit of time, and it's all done. So this total pattern that you see, there aren't any color changes in this what to do. But it says it's going to take about 91 minutes, so an hour and a half to do this butterfly, this very intricate looking freestanding laced butterfly. So I will get it started, let you see part of it as it's going, and then what I'll do is I'll probably cut out large bits of this video and speed up other parts of it so you're not sitting here for 91 minutes watching this. So I have my thread loaded. I'm using a blue thread. Why? Because I like blue. You could use any color you want. And I'm going to hit start. So now it's time to take out the water-soluble stabilizer, and I filled up a sink with a little bit of warm water, and I'm just going to submerge this and hold it under the water and leave it in here for about 25 to 30 seconds, and I'm just going to gently swish it around, and as I do so, that stabilizer that's in it will dissolve. Now the more I rinse out, the limper this piece is going to get, and I want it to be relatively stiff, so I think that's got me right there. So now I'm going to take it and put it on some paper towels and blot it. So I have it between a couple layers of paper towels, and I've just been pressing on it just to get some of the excess moisture out. And then I just peel that back and take it off the paper towels and just lay it here on my pressing mat. Flatten it down with my hand and let it air dry. And once it's dry, it'll be done. And I'll show you the end result from that. Now I may give it a little bit of a press because it may curl up a little bit as it's drying, and give it a little press with my iron as well once it is totally dry. How long does it take to dry? Usually no more than about an hour. It depends. Okay, so I hope you have a better understanding of what freestanding lace is. Next week, we're doing freestanding applique, which is a combination of freestanding lace and freestanding applique. So you have a blend of lacy parts and fabric parts. And this is what you get into when you're making three-dimensional objects. And we're going to show you some of the things that we have made before. And I'm going to do another little video showing you the process for making something fairly simple, but once you've seen the process, it's the same for all pieces, whether they're small or they're large, whether you're making one little decoration or a whole Christmas village, because yes, you can. So that's next week. The other thing too is this series is not going to take us that long. In fact, next week will probably be the last episode of the series. It's probably only a 2-week series with it, unless we think of something else that we need to show you or tell you about doing this. So we need suggestions. Asked for this before, not getting any. Give us some ideas of what you would like to see that we can develop a series from. We like doing series. And I think you like them too, because it gives you an opportunity, or it gives us an opportunity to get into certain topics in a little bit more depth than just a one-off video. So yeah, so if you got ideas, put them in the comments below or send us an email. So any parting words?
No,
No,
have
nothing.
fun and play with freestanding links.
Yeah, don't be afraid of it. You'll be amazed at what you'll create, and you'll amaze your friends and family who don't have embroidery machines.
Yeah, I don't know how you made that wonderful thing.
And you can keep them in the mystery zone over that. Okay, and I just realized I didn't shut that cupboard behind me. There you go. Okay, never mind. But all right, have a good one. Have a great long weekend, because that's what we're about into, and I hope to see some of you on Pop Up So Day on Saturday. So say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye.